Welcome back to Up and Adams. My next guest, the founder of The Ringer. This is a true honor. I'm a little nervous here. I've never met Bill Simmons. He's the host of the Bill Simmons podcast, of course, and also a proud partner of our FanDuel family. He knows more about betting than I will ever know. And we're here to celebrate, Bill, 2 new shows coming to our FanDuel family this week. Tell us all about them, and welcome, Bill.
We have a Friday show, Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend, and then a Sunday show called Wise Guys, which is a show that my camera looks crazy right now. I apologize. I'm doing something weird with the Zoom. So the Sunday show, we are going to be doing, it's going to be for Joe House and Raheem Palmer and John Jastrzemski and Cousin Sal.
Whoa.
Basically breaking down all the games right before the games happen. So Sunday, 11 a.m., all the bets that they would make anyway, they're going to be jumping in, doing them, arguing about what underdog parlay to do, props and all that stuff. And it's kind of like the conversations or the text threads that we would be having anyway, but we're just doing it live on FanDuel TV and on all the platforms. So we're really excited about it. It's going to be really fun.
We love to hear that. We love to see it. I think it's perfect, and it's a perfect fit for FanDuel. So thanks for taking some time with us today to talk about it. Your background is amazing. All of those books, what is your favorite book back there, the one that comes to mind that you would recommend me to read?
Well, 2 of those shelves are all basketball books. My favorite book is probably Breaks of the Game by David Halberstam.
There we go.
About 500 pages, not a football book. I don't know. What do you like? You read football, basketball? What do you read?
Whatever Bill Simmons tells me to read, I will read. I'm not a movie gal, and I know you're a movie guy, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I also hear, Mr. Simmons, that you are having a lot of success with the Immaculate Grid situation, right? And your guest, yeah. So let's talk about what's behind this. And people are also telling me that your Guess the Lines with your friend Cousin Sal, who will be on FanDuel TV, that you're just so great, and you've been so immaculate with your guesses that fans are sort of starting to turn and accuse you of doing this not so cleanly. What's going on? Are you juicing, Bill?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think all the greats, when they hit a certain point, people start wondering, is this real? What are they doing? Are they getting performance enhancing, things like that? Sal and I have been doing Guess the Lines on the Sunday podcast I have for 17 years. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten to the point that I usually feel we're going to be within a point of any game. And if we're like 3 or 4 points off, then that's usually a red flag for us that we should probably bet the team that we were off on. Like if we see things so differently than Vegas and the general public, then we're like, all right, this could be an opportunity for us. So I do not cheat. I feel bad because I spank Sal every week, and I feel bad about it. But he's been a good sport about it. All the losing.
Do you have a cheat code for the Immaculate Grid? Like, what's your secret?
So I just was an only child who loved sports, and the Immaculate Grid rewards people who can remember things from the 60s, 70s, and 80s really well. So when it's something like the Clippers and the Warriors, I'm like, and my brain just goes to 1979. Whereas most people who play that, they remember the last 20 years. So yeah, I'm ready to challenge people for real, for money and whatever it takes.
Okay, FanDuel Sportsbook, let's get it together. Yeah. Let's do an Immaculate Grid sort of game from Mr. Simmons. We'd love to see that. Now, we're so excited because the NFL season finally happens tomorrow. And you work in this, and it's all day, and it's all conjecture. And I know that you love future bets, and that's fun, but I'm just ready for some action. And we get Lions and Chiefs tomorrow night. The Lions started at 6.5-point underdogs. And we're going to look at the FanDuel Sportsbook odds here. Chris Jones holdout, that's ongoing. Travis Kelce, he's got the bone bruise. So it's moved to -5.5. Does this 1-point swing change the way you're betting this game?
No, because I really like the Lions in a tease, especially if Chris Jones doesn't play. I wanted to tease them or get them in an alternate line or something like that over 10. So this didn't really affect that yet. To me, the Chris Jones thing is as big of a thing as the Kelce thing. The Kelce thing was funny because it completely upended every fantasy. I had a fantasy draft last night. Nobody knew what to do. And then somebody went nuts and spent $35 on him anyway. But the way it has affected the gambling lines, the future props, the Chiefs, I think there were maybe 11.5 or 12.5 for their over under. And now nobody knows if Kelsey's coming back. Nobody knows if Chris Jones is playing. So there's some uncertainty with the Chiefs. And this is a really nice spot for the Lions. I wasn't a huge fan of the Lions this year, but it just seems like you can't ask for a better spot than this. Kelsey's probably not playing. Chris Jones isn't practicing. If you're ever going to go in and try to beat Mahomes with all these new receivers, and he doesn't really have a number one receiver. So my fear is that we're being suckered into a Lions bet.
Got it.
And then you're going to watch the game Thursday night, and all of a sudden it's going to be like 14-3 Chiefs, and we're all going to be like, oh my God, what did we do? Why did we get suckered in on this stupid Lions team?
You didn't bid $36 for Jared Goff to be your fantasy quarterback, Bill?
No, but I got him for 4 as
my
backup. Yeah. My big one, I really wanted Jalen Hurts. I'm in a couple leagues, but I really wanted Jalen Hurts because I think the Eagles are going to have the best offense in the league. You can bet that on FanDuel at 9-1. I have him for MVP at 12-1.
Okay.
And I just think they have the best offensive line. Their receivers are the best receivers in the NFC. Dallas Goedert. I'm just in on that team, and I actually think their offense is a little underrated. So unfortunately, they're playing my favorite team on Sunday, so I have to root against them in week 1.
They are, and your favorite team's got Tom Brady back in town, so there's going to be some emotions in the building. The Patriots have the toughest schedule on paper, right? They have the lowest odds to win the division. So I love a sleeper team. I love an underdog. You predicted them to win 9 games this year and make the playoffs. So
I did.
What's the thing that you have the most faith in or confidence in about the Patriots squad, and the one thing that you sort of believe in the least?
So I love their defense, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball. And it feels like an early 2000s Belichick team. Now, Belichick is 20 plus years older than he was in the early 2000s, so maybe that variable evens out. But I just think they were so messed up last year for so many different reasons. They were really, I don't want to say poorly coached, but sloppily coached and made a lot of dumb errors. They blew 2 games that they easily should have won. And it just didn't feel like a Patriots team. And I don't think Belichick wants to go out this way. So a lot of the stuff they've done, they made the defense faster. They really, really tried to build Mac's confidence up. And I think Mac had a really good training camp. I like them 9-8, 10-7. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think there's going to be a bunch of teams like the Chargers, the Ravens. I think the Bills, I think they're pretty overrated personally. The Jets, there's going to be all these teams in the 9-8, 8-9 range because the conference is so good. And I like the Pats defense. I think they're going to be there.
Now, with Tom being back in the building, back in Foxborough, you have the podcast called The Rewatchables. So I got to ask you, if you were to rewatch, as you do your favorite movies, your favorite Tom Brady moment from his insane Hall of Fame, greatest player of all time career, what's the one play or the moment that you'd rewatch over and over again?
Oh, the 2 Seattle drives in the Super Bowl. They're down 10 and they're getting their butts kicked, and he just slapped it together with Edelman and Amendola and went down the field against a really, really great defense. And to me that and then the Atlanta drive, obviously the second half where they come back and he just does everything. And that was the Atlanta game was when he cemented it. Like, there was a lot of arguing, like kind of like there is now with LeBron and Jordan, and people have picked sides on LeBron versus Jordan, and there's kind of no real answer. I think there's personally his answer. I think it's Jordan. But after the Falcons game, it was just Brady. Like, everybody was like, done. We're not arguing about this anymore. So that was it. And so I would say those 2 games were the ones that were probably the most important for his legacy. But he had, 20 years is such a long time. Crazy. When you think about it, like, I was living in Boston when he became the quarterback, since then I've had 2 kids and I live in LA and I've had 5 dogs, and you just think like how much your life changes. So it's almost hard to keep. It sounds weird. I'm sure like Lions fans or Browns fans would hate to hear this, but we had so many great wins and so many great moments. Like, I can't even remember all of them. Because it was just every year we would have like 7, 8 unbelievable games. You were there. You were in Boston for a piece of it, right?
I mean, the Seattle Super Bowl was the craziest thing ever. I didn't even know what I was watching. It was the most insane. I was like sitting next to Cliff Kingsbury at that game in some wild fever dream of a memory. I want to ask you about
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you miss Schrager and Kyle? Like, you guys spent so much time together in the early mornings.
Six
and then all
years.
of a sudden it's over. Like, what's that like? Is it like a relationship?
We lost Nate after 5 years, and then we did the 1 year together, just the 2 of us. And then we had like a rotating co-host. But sure, it was 3 hours a day on live television for 6 years.
But early in the morning, like, you guys are. It's like, what time was it? Like. 6, 7. See,
7 a.m.
I'm not a morning person. I never could have been on one of those shows because I just would have been irascible and yelling at everybody until my coffee kicked in. I don't know how anybody does morning shows.
Well, you do a lot of things that I think a lot of people can't do. So we are going to leave it here. We appreciate you. And again, tell us about the shows. We can see, of course, catch every podcast on The Ringer, everybody. And tune into FanDuel TV. It's Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend every Friday at 9 Eastern. And Ringer Wise Guys every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you so much. And good luck with Dion and your new Colorado Buffs fandom.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good luck with the show this year. I hope it's as good as it was last year.
Thanks, Bill. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow with